Okay, so boys and girls, we're on page 212, and we're talking about animal life cycles. And so one of the things that we can do is we can look at timelines, and timelines can be used to show periods or changes over a period of time. And these timelines show and compare the life cycles of a dog and a penguin. And you have that in your book. So let's look. It says study the pictures. Oh, wait. To discover more about the differences between the life stages of the animals below. And so let's look what we have here. So this is going to be the life cycle, and we're comparing a dog and a penguin. So here is birth. Let's look. Birth is the first stage of a dog's life cycle. Dogs give birth to live young. Like most mammals, puppies depend on their mothers to feed them milk. And there is a puppy when it's first born. And then next to it we have a penguin. Birds such as penguins are born when they hatch from eggs. They cannot take care of themselves at this stage. They depend on adults to feed and protect them. Just like a puppy really can't take care of itself either. The mother has to take care of them as well. The mother feeds them, just like a penguin's mother feeds and takes care of its young. Okay. Now let's look at the next stage. Growth is the second stage in many animals' life cycles. During the growth stage, a puppy will increase in size, grow more hair, and learn new skills. During its growth stage, a young penguin will increase in size and weight. Adult feathers replace fuzzy down, and young penguins learn to hunt for food. So there. So look at, there's the puppy stage. They grow, they get more hair, and they learn new skills. They learn to do different things. They might learn how to, what are some things that a puppy will learn in this stage? Olivia?
Well, you can teach them tricks like sit and shake.
Yes, you can teach them tricks like how to sit, how to shake. Ava?
To be potty trained.
Yes, you definitely want to teach them how to be potty trained during this stage. That's very important, yes.
You can teach them how to play with their toys.
How to teach them how to play with their toys. Appropriate things, right? Yes. To not run off, yes, to stay. Yes.
Sometimes some puppies can be like when they're younger, they like go up and attack people. You not like attack, but go all over them. So you can kind of train the puppy to kind of like sit and stay.
Yes, to sit and stay. You can teach them appropriate play, right? Appropriate play. Claire?
And then when they're sleeping, like we need to teach them how to go to sleep too, and not like stay up all night.
Yes. Yes, because you want them to be on kind of the same sleeping cycle you are, correct, with your puppy? And then look, we have our penguins. Now, what do you notice about how the young penguin looks in comparison to its adult penguins? What's interesting about that? John?
It's because it's really fuzzy, and the penguin adults are not really that fuzzy anymore.
That's right. It looks fuzzy, so they look a little different. Yes, Gabe? It's a different color. Evelyn?
Their beaks are different.
Its beak looks different for sure. Yes.
It's smaller.
It's smaller. Yes.
It's bigger.
What's bigger?
It's like a baby penguin. The adult ones are a little like skinnier.
It does look like maybe, well, they look taller for sure. Yes. So they are certainly taller, they're bigger, the fluffy feathers the adults do not have. So let's look and see the next stage of life. So far we have the birth stage, the growth stage. Now we have reproduction, the next stage of life in the growth cycle. Reproduction is the third stage in most animals' life cycles. Adult animals, such as dogs, reproduce, and females give birth to live young. Mother dogs care for their pups, so they're going to give birth to a puppy, or sometimes obviously a litter of puppies where there's going to be a bunch of puppies. Some dogs will only give birth to maybe 1 or 2 puppies. Then we have got a penguin. Now, female penguins reproduce by laying eggs, and we could see the egg there on the feet. The young penguin develops inside the egg while an adult guards the egg and keeps it warm. Yes?
Do all puppies give birth?
Well,
Or dogs?
female puppies, yes. Yes, they can all give birth. So you can have, unless somebody does something to stop it from giving birth. Sometimes people will take their dog and they'll have its process done so they do not give birth, so they don't have puppies. Because you don't want to have too many puppies running around. Because otherwise then there's way too many puppies in the world. So then we have got, here's the mother dog. Oh, it looks like a nice golden retriever. Does anybody have a golden retriever at home? Those are such nice dogs. They're awesome dogs, a golden retriever. She's with her puppies. And then we have our large penguin. And look where the penguin keeps the egg. On its feet. And it keeps it what? It must keep it nice and warm because it's underneath it. Keeping it nice and safe. Now, let's look here. It's guarding it. It doesn't want anything to happen to that egg. Claire?
So, but if you have like a dog and you didn't choose to make it not have babies, could you keep making it have babies even if it has already had babies? Could you like keep choosing to breed?
Well, some
it
people
and have
breed
babies?
dogs. Yes, some people breed dogs.
Because that's where we got our dog from. Because
Yes.
her mother was a cockapoo and her mom was a cocker spaniel and her dad was a poodle.
Yes,
So
some
it's
people
no-
breed dogs. Most definitely. So now let's look. Let's look at the next stage. Now we have the end stage of life, and so that would be death. And death is the end of an animal's life cycle. Small dogs can live 15 or more years. Medium dogs average about 12 years. Large dogs usually only live about 7 or 8 years. But obviously, these things, some dogs live longer, right? Many types of penguins, on the other hand, can live up to 20 years. But like all animals, eventually elderly adults will die. So this is part of the life cycle. So that is the way nature works. We go through all those stages of life. Everything does. That's the way nature and God has intended everything to be. So those are the life cycles. So there we have our different life cycles. So here's what we're going to do, boys and girls. So now we've discussed the life cycles. Now we're going to go in our book. And we're going to compare the life cycles to each other and say how they are alike and how they are different from each other. Okay, are you ready? So because it's easier for me just to write on the board when we do this. So let's look. Why would this ever erase the first time I do that? It never does. Isn't that funny? So boys and girls, what I want you to do is I want you to go back and I want you to look here. Let's look at the birth. And what we want to do is we are looking, do you see where it has the birth? Where we have our birth stage. I want you to look at that. And I want you to tell me, how is it alike? What is alike about puppies and penguins that we could say is alike? What's alike with them? What do you think? Bryson, what's alike about them?
Can I show you my picture?
No, not right now. What's alike? Ava?
They both need their parents' help
Yes, in what way? What does the parent have to do for them?
to feed them.
Yes, they both need their parents to feed. They both need, alike, they have to be fed by an adult. So let's write that. we're gonna say the young must be fed by adults. And then our other is different. What is different about them? What is different? Isabella, what's different between a puppy and a penguin?
The puppy is like a puppy, and then the penguin is in an egg.
Yes, the puppy is born live. That's what you mean? The puppy is born live? Yes. So the puppy, some animals are born live, and then some animals hatch from eggs. So let's say that. Some animals are born live, and some hatch from eggs. Yes, there are quite a few that hatch from eggs. And quite a few that, that are born live. So we have animals that hatch from eggs and animals that are born live. Okay. Did everybody write that? Because I'm ready to move on to our next one. Okay.
Memorized the first time.
Okay, now we did our next stage. We did our growth stage. How are they alike in the growth stage?
This is Anna.
Yes.
Before this, you said some need to be fed.
Okay, did you just fix it when you wrote it? Thanks. Okay, alike. So how are they alike? How are they alike? Rosie?
They're both
They both what?
they're both soft.
Okay, what else? Olivia.
Well, a puppy. It says a puppy grows new hair, and a penguin will grow more feathers.
Okay, so they grow, that might be a way that they're different. I think that we could count that as how they're different, because one grows hair, one grows feathers. I think we'll say that for different. How are they alike though? Ava Lynn. And they do what? They get, well, not that they get taken care of. Yes, Logan. They get bigger and they learn what? John? Yeah, they learn new skills. So they're all learning new skills. Because we learned that the penguins learn to hunt for food and the puppies learn new tricks and different things. So let's say that. So we'll say most animals get bigger. Most animals get bigger. So most animals get bigger and learn new skills. And then different, Olivia helped us with that one that we decided to put here instead. So some animals some have feathers. It's so interesting to see how different animals are, and in some ways, so alike. Yes,
Can I sharpen my pencil?
could you just grab one? You guys need to keep like a whole supply at your desk. See if you can find one there, okay? Now, boys and girls. Is there one in there? You should always have like a few at the ready. Now, did you get that in there, Olivia? Did you get this copied? So, now we want to go to our next stage. I'm going to get rid of this. And now we are at, oh, gotta do it twice. Now we are at our reproduction. How are dogs and penguins alike in reproduction, in the reproduction stage? How are we alike in the reproduction stage? Sit down, Lucas, and then you can tell me, how are they alike? What do they both do?
They both give birth.
They do both give birth. What else do they do? Hector, is your hand up?
No.
Claire?
They both reproduce babies.
They both what?
Both have babies.
They both have babies. Logan?
They stop growing.
Well, yes, because they're in the reproduction phase, so they stopped growing. What else? Evelyn?
They're always females.
Well, well, okay. How about when they have their babies, what do they do with them? Do they just kick them out and say, you're on your own? I mean, some do, but most don't.
Turtles do.
Allison?
They take care of them.
Yes, they care for their babies. So,
Turtles do.
dog and penguin parents both care for their young. And then different. And then what's different about them? There was a big obvious difference between dogs and penguins in terms of reproduction. What was totally different about them? Gabe? Yes, penguins hatch from eggs and dogs are live. So penguins hatch from eggs. Dogs are born live. Now, here's our next one. Now we have depth, our last one. When we're comparing the two, what is alike about both of them? Depth is what stage for both of them? That we could say, John?
they both eventually die?
Yeah, it's a final stage for both. So the same, alike. So we'll say it's the final stage. So we're going to say it's the final stage for both animals. Or, yeah, for both animals. Should we write one more thing? Yeah. Okay. And then different. And what was the one thing that was different about their life cycle in the death stage? What was the one thing that was very different for them? Hector?
Dogs die before penguins usually die.
Yes, penguins live longer, right? So penguins live longer than dogs. Penguins live longer than dogs. Live longer than dogs. So there you go. So that is something very interesting about penguins. So I guess if you wanted a long, very long living pet, you need a pet penguin. Okay? We need a pet penguin.